Happy Sunday, YouTube, and it is an extremely blustery day here in Kansas as I approach Salina. And of course, now that I'm recording a video while I'm driving, I'm guessing it's probably gonna, oh, nope, there it goes. You see that I'm having to kind of fight the wind as I'm moving along here. Now, fortunately for me, I am extremely heavy. I'm about to make a turn onto 81, Highway 81 North, so I'll have the wind at my back, which will be good. But still, blustery days do not make for fun on the interstate. You can see out in the distance there, maybe if my phone is resolving pardon me, the scenery clear enough. Oh, pardon me. No, it's not the Rona. Some of the dust blowing off that field there as I was making the turn up the overleaf here. That's how windy it is in Kansas right now. I mean, it will blow your house over, send you to Oz, but it's not going to be a fun day to be standing around. You might lose your hat. Or if you're empty, driving a 53-foot drive-in with no freight in it might not be quite as fun either. As you can sort of see through my horribly bug-splattered windshield, it's about to get a whole lot calmer, and now that the wind is at my back, it's gotten a lot quieter, but there was some pretty nasty buffeting coming at me, and I was kind of weaving over the road more than I'd like to in any given situation. But fortunately, as I was saying earlier, or starting to say more accurately, fortunately for me, I am very, very heavy. So the wind is not really truly a problem for me because of my gross weight. Because when I weighed out on this load after getting loaded in Albuquerque on Friday, scaled out, I think I was 70, with a full fuel load, I think I was 79,400 pounds, something like that. 79,000, 78,000. Anyway, you slice it, I was within 2,000 pounds of maximum, possibly even within 1,000 pounds of maximum gross vehicle weight for the cat scale that I hit with a full fuel load, plus all the freight in the box. And I've got animal feed in the box right now. 22 skids, I believe it is, about a 45,000 pound load. So it's going to take a severe wind gust to blow me over. Like, we're talking, I think it'd have to hit 50 to 75 mile an hour plus wind. I don't know the exact math. All I know is that since I weigh well over 78,000 pounds with a full fuel load, I'm at about a half fuel load right now, give or take. The wind is not going to be blowing me over today, which is a good thing. But it has been blowing me around. Like, since I started my run this morning, coming out of Great Bend, Kansas, the wind was pretty nasty. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fun either. And I had to keep a light hand on the tiller, as it were, and just sort of let the wind kind of take me a little bit so I don't overcorrect and, suddenly start having to make a wild secondary overcorrection and then, start weaving all over the place. But, my strategy is here, I'll kind of demonstrate. Like, if I get a broadside wind coming at me from my right, it might blow me kind of like this. What I'll do is I'll let the wind take me a little bit, and I'll just sort of gently ease my wheel into the wind so that I can kind of bleed off the gust, as it were, rather than trying to get hard on it and fight it and then risk going into an overcorrection zone, because you can see from some of these roads there's not much of a shoulder, and there's some drop-offs on some of these shoulders. So if I overcorrect too far, and if all of a sudden the resistance that I'm steering into goes away, harvested. So harvest is getting close to wrapping up for what feels like the bulk of the nation, at least in terms of what I've seen. Yeah, there's still some corn and some fields here and there. Probably still some soybeans need to be gotten out yet. Maybe some wheat. Summer wheat needs to come out yet. I don't know. Okra. I mean, there's some crops that I've been seeing harvested today and yesterday. I don't know what they are. I mean, it might be okra. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting into some areas that I don't usually frequent. And where I'm from in Illinois, I mean, the vast majority of farmers are planting corn or soybeans. Occasionally, I'll see some wheat fields in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin, but for the most part, it's corn and beans. But here in, Kansas and some of the other states, New Mexico and Oklahoma and part of Texas, I'm seeing, I can only assume it's okra. I really don't know. I need to look it up and actually educate myself on what other crop options there are, but it could be canola for all I have no idea. I mean, it's just, there's so much more to agriculture than corn and soybeans, even though those two are kind of the staple crops and they go into a lot of ingredients. But anyway, I'm rambling about something that doesn't have to do anything with wind entirely, but the seasons are changing. We're getting ready for the cold, I guess you could say, but it's 83 degrees according to the truck's thermometer here in Kansas, just north of Salina. And it's a nice day now that I'm driving with the wind as opposed to tacking against it, as it were. So, gonna be a good drive. If I stay the course, I'll be arriving in my destination city at about 3 o'clock today, and then I'll have the rest of the day to myself to just kind of relax. And then I'll get delivered hopefully fairly early tomorrow morning if the receiver will let me. I'm scheduled to deliver tomorrow afternoon at like 4 o'clock, I think it is, but I'm going to try to move that up if I can so I can get this load off the truck, get the next load going, and try to get at least 2 more loads in before I head home. Try to be home on Wednesday and take a nice 4 or 5 days off because we got Halloween coming up. A buddy of mine is getting married and going to the wedding. Actually, I'm in the wedding, so I need to be home in time to get my tuxedo picked up and go to the rehearsal dinner and all that jazz, and then the ceremony and all the celebration that's going to entail. It's going to be a good weekend for that. And then it's Halloween. And I do a bit of an involved Halloween. Maybe I'll actually share some video from this year's Halloween, what I do for trick-or-treating. That's kind of become an unspoken, sort of unofficial tradition since COVID-19 changed a lot of how things had to happen. So just to tell you about it, what I do for Halloween is, for Halloween 2020, what I did is I built a train table specifically for the setup in the garage that would collapse down into multiple pieces, so it wouldn't just be this huge thing in the way, so I could put it away and get it out of sight and be able to use the garage again. What I did is I set up a train table that would allow me to maintain social distancing for trick-or-treaters, because we were still kind of in a quasi-lockdown phase. Social distancing was still heavily encouraged. Masking, of course, at that time was still mostly mandatory. They hadn't quite changed the rules on that yet and relaxed restrictions. So I built this table to enable social distancing to be maintained. And what we did in order to kind of further, make people feel better and help them feel safe about the whole thing, in case there were folks who were concerned, is that we put the candy would go into individual goodie bags, so we wouldn't actually handle the candy, giving it to the trick-or-treaters. I would have this train pull around with the bags of candy in some freight cars. They could then reach and grab one of the bags, put it in their pumpkin or their bag or whatever they had, and then off they went. And it was a big success. It was a lot of fun to do it. So last year did the same thing for Halloween 2021, but just because it was fun to do it, but I made the table a little bigger so I could actually use a bigger locomotive and bigger freight cars. I got a second line going on the inside, just because what the heck, why not? Model trains are fun, and it's garden scale, so it could definitely do the job. So maybe I'll show some video of that on this channel. I've got another channel I do all my model train stuff on that I just be fun to share that here for some of you folks who might enjoy it. So we'll see what happens next weekend. But anyway, we've got a little ways to go yet before we get there. And I got a lot of miles to turn and burn before I get home. So thank you so much for watching, friends. And I will see you down the road.